Well, hello everybody, and apologies for the live stream starting a little late today. Been under the weather the last couple days, so trying to make sure we have everything together. Pardon me. So really quick, at the beginning of the stream, just I always ask, and I don't want everybody to get annoyed at me, but I always ask. It's super helpful for us to um, follow Rose Racer on Twitter at Rose Racer Game, and then to like us on Facebook at Rose Racer Game, also on Facebook. And we've actually updated our website with some new info on Rose Racer. So if you go to nacelgames.com, right on the front page, there's a new banner image that's pretty cool. And then there's also a new a new kind of update on the game, and on our blog post, our lead designer Carrie wrote a blog post about Rose Racer and her role in designing the game. So that's on the blog right now. So go check that out at nacelgames.com /blog, and you'll get to that blog post. But yeah, I wanted to show really quick that banner. It's pretty cool. So it does have a couple things on it. Let me find this really quick in our. Here we go. Here we are. Kind of zoom in. So it's got a new sketch out of Rose, which we hadn't released before. So it's kind of more of a 3D looking render of the. It's not an actual 3D render, but it's more of a detailed drawing of Rose from our concept artist Colette. And then we have a concept image for Ben, and then also an image of Rose's car in there too. So pretty awesome. So what we're going to be doing today, you're going to be watching me do it. Really, there's that we again from my tutorials. So couple things that we've done this week. Like I said, I've been under the weather, so there's not been as much done inside the game engine. But there's been a lot of art stuff behind the scenes that's been going on. So, for example, Ben's car is done. It's not in the game yet, but it's been modeled. So we'll be releasing something about that this week. And hopefully getting that car in the game this week as well. So Rose's car is in the game, not drivable yet, but we're going to make it drivable today. That's the big thing I'll be working on. Yeah, so we actually completely rescaled the level down again. So we've been just toying with the scaling again and again and again, and we're probably going to keep tweaking on it as we're making the as we keep making the game. So we're kind of at a point where we really need, the real car in the game so that we can drive it around. And let me find my cable for my controller so I can get this hooked up. So we have, let me click play here. So we have the scaling set now. That took some math and some very specific measurements of things to get it to go. So basically we've settled on that Rose's car is about 4 inches long, is what it's supposed to be. So that's Rose's car. So it's about 4 inches long in real world scale, which means that this table here is about 6 feet long and 4 feet wide, real world scale. But that's not what it is in the game world. So like, basically the cars are about, if you were to say that the cars were real life size, like, it's kind of tough to explain. Like, if you were to say that the cars themselves were the actual, like, were a real car that you were standing next to, then the cars would be about 12 feet long, which is probably a little big, but it works out. So they would be about 12 feet long, which then means, like, this table here is about, I'm trying to remember the foot. It's like, I think it's at least several thousand feet. Or no, was that inches? I think it was several thousand inches long, because I don't remember what the footage was. But it's big. It's something like a little less than half a football field. So yeah, it's pretty big. So we're still toying around with like the sink and trying to get that scaling to look right. There's now 2 sinks instead of just one, so we're kind of just still toying around with this. Um, and then we have this. One change we did make to the track when we were doing some play testing was we removed all of the corners out of the track, and the main reason for that was we were finding that when you were trying to go around these corners, and we haven't finished the track yet, so I can get here and then I fall off. But we're realizing that when you go around those corners, you like go around the corner and you'd bump the side, and then be kind of you would either you wouldn't really flip over, but you would like hit the side and kind of drive right into the edge. And part of that was the physics of the car and how that was set up, and then part of that was just the fact that in order to get you to be able to turn around that corner without clipping the side, we had to make the curve really shallow. So that was then we were like running out of physical space to make these big sweeping curves and still have enough room for like the next piece of track. So we've taken those out. So now when you get to the end of a track, it's just going to be a straight piece, and they might have a jump at the end, but you're going to have a straight piece that you can then like start turning actually before you even leave the track. And we've been playing a lot of Super Mario Kart, the original one, which is a lot harder than I remember it being. But I haven't played it in probably 10 years. I was trying to think of the last time I'd actually played the game, and it's probably been about 10 years since I've played it. Oop, sorry. It's probably been about 10 years since I've played it, and in that case, I just didn't remember I just didn't remember a lot about the game. Like I remembered, things like you've got to hop to do the to do your stuff around the edge, but it was kind of an eye opener playing that game and seeing how that runs as far as like the quintessential kart racing game. So we've made those adjustments. Today, though, what we'll be doing is we actually have Rose's car in the game, and we've had it in the game before, but now it's actually rigged. So let me see if I can actually have it show the. I don't know if it's going to show the skeleton from this view. This is actually not the best. Okay, so that's the skeletal mesh of the car. Let me look at the physics asset. Okay, that's a better thing to look at. Okay, so this is Rose's car, and it's in the game, and it has been rigged. View skeleton. Here we go. So you can see that there's these 4 lines. Let me mesh render mode, wireframe. Okay, you can kind of see it a little better now. So like these kind of greenish lines are the bones in the rig. So basically, usually when you're rigging something, it's a character. Like let's say it's an elf that's running around. So an elf would have like arms and a head and legs, and you're basically mimicking the bone structure for that being skeleton, right? So it's a little different for the cars, because the only things that are rigged in a simple rig like this are the wheels. So each wheel is rigged to a joint at the end here, and then they're rigged to a center joint here. And what this lets you do is the wheels will go up and down because they're bound to that central pivot point. They'll go up and down as if they were connected to the car in terms of like the suspension, but then also they can turn and you can steer. So we have it in the engine rigged up, and then the rigging was actually done in Maya. I did the rigging in Maya. And this is actually the first thing I've fully rigged. So I just haven't done rigging before. So that was fun, getting that figured out. So that was cool. Thankfully, it's a pretty simple rig. It's only 4 4 bones and 5 joints, so it's pretty simple. Now these boxes and spheres, these are basically the physics volumes for the car. So if I go back into view modes, solid, oh, I can make these solid. Sweet, I didn't know I could do that. So basically, these do kind of 2 things. The first thing they do is provide collision for the car. So basically, there's like this blocked out part here that is kind of the main volume that the car takes up, and then there's these ones on the back that are basically the bumpers, and then the wheels have their own collision. Now, the wheels, it's a little different with the collision. Like, they aren't colliding out this far, for example. These are mainly to like know what the radius of the wheels are, and kind of their location relative to the rest of the car. Yeah, so that's cool. We have that, and let me actually put that back to wireframe. Okay, so that's the physics setup for the car. So the other thing we need to do though is to there's a lot of extra things that need to be. Let me actually get my. There we go. Okay, and I need a new window because I've done the vehicle setup a handful of times, but I don't want to forget anything because there's a lot of stuff. Like, you need to create a vehicle blueprint and blueprints for the wheels and tire data and animation data, and there's a lot of like subsettings to get all rigged up. So I want to make sure that everything is is covered. So I will actually be following a not really a tutorial, but it's the documentation. So it's super important when you're making stuff to do it right. So I want to make sure I'm actually getting everything the way it's supposed to be. So going to here it is. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is make a vehicle blueprint, and it is a wheeled vehicle. Okay, so Rosa's car, WV. And what this means, like, I'm basically using some acronyms. So, like, WV meaning, like, wheeled vehicle, so I know. So basically, because I can now look at these, because these are all going to look the same once I get Rosa's car actually in this blueprint. Like, we have the static mesh blueprint, which is what this is down here. This is the static mesh one, so it doesn't move, right? And then we have the skeletal mesh, which is the one that's rigged with the bones, and then we have the static mesh by itself. So yeah, that'll should work out okay. Okay, I just want everything labeled so that I can look at it and see exactly what it is. Like, this is a blueprint of Rosa's car that's a wheeled vehicle. Okay, so once that's done, okay, we need to make the wheel blueprints for the front and the rear wheels. Blueprint wheel. Vehicle wheel select. I'm actually going to break tradition here and just do front wheel underscore rows instead of having a blueprint in there, because it's a blueprint, but it's really just to hold some settings. It's not like a super important thing. And this is vehicle specific, so this is going to be like the wheels on Rosa's car, because it depends on like a couple things like the size of the wheel, and then there can be other settings about like the friction and other kinds of stuff that determines what the handling is. So we want to make sure that that's rigged up specific to Rose's car. So I'm going to make another vehicle wheel. Now I already have a couple here. Those are for the prototype car, which we're not going to be using once we get Rose's car in here. Then the prototype vehicle will go bye-bye. So another vehicle wheel, and this is going to be rear. What did I say? Rear, back? I think I called everything back wheel. I think I called it a back wheel. Let me look at the skeletal mesh. And skeleton. Here we go. Yeah, front wheel, back wheel. I'm slightly concerned that that's... Yeah, don't do that. That is that low. We'll see. The only trouble that I might run into is if the rig is not exactly correct, then I'm gonna have to go adjust the rig. But the version of Maya that we use is OS 10 and not Windows. So that, if it needs to be fixed for whatever reason, then it would need to be fixed. Not in this live stream, unfortunately. But we'll see. Hopefully everything works out. But this is the first rig that I've done. Well, not the first. It's the first rig I've done 100% from scratch. I've had to fix rigs before, but I've never had to do it from scratch. Okay, so front rear wheel, tire data is the next thing. I'm probably just gonna do a tire miscellaneous data asset, tire type, and tire type. Call it Rose tire type. Probably going to keep those same. I don't think I would use the tire, because all this is a friction scale. That's the only thing that a tire type is. Property matrix. Interesting. Let me actually... Okay. I was checking the size. It's 1 kilobyte, so I'm not going to worry about... Are these not marked for... okay, they are marked for add. Good. They didn't look like they were marked to be added to our source control, so I was making sure that was actually true. But yeah, so it's 1 kilobyte. So I'm not going to worry about having multiple of those. So we'll leave the friction scale that. Last thing to make. I think this is the last thing to make. Yeah, last thing to make is the animation blueprint. And this one's a little tricky. Animation blueprint. So it has to be a vehicle anim instance with the SK Rose car skeleton. Yeah, okay. So I want both of those selected. Because if you don't select the right anim instance, then you don't get the right nodes, and then you've got to remake it. So, okay, SK Rose's car skeleton and vehicle anim instance, okay. And this is going to be Rose anim BP. Actually, I'm going to call it BP Rose car anim. I'm doing Rose car anim because eventually we're going to have Rose herself in the game, and I don't want to confuse those two. Okay, so let's go ahead and edit the car animation. And what this does is move the wheels. Okay, so I need to make a mesh space ref pose component, and then need a wheel handler. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So these can get more complicated, but that's it. And the reason it would get more complicated would be like if you had. Let me compile this and save it. So like if you had like, because we only like have the 5 bones, right? So we got the root bone and then one for each tire. So like if we had like extra suspension underneath or something, that we had like a suspension arm that was rigged, then we would need to rig the suspension arm to look at the wheel so that they would kind of move in sync with one another. But we're not doing anything like that, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so now that that's set up, and the tire data asset, we're going to leave it 1. Now we need the wheel blueprints. Okay, so let's do the front wheel first. And let me go get the back wheel open too. Front wheel, back wheel. Okay, so these just have defaults. So the biggest thing here is the radius for these. And I don't know the width of the wheel, though. I didn't measure the width. I don't know if that matters, though, honestly. I don't think the width matters. Because I think every time that I've seen the width value on vehicles, it's always been the same. So we'll leave it for right now. These are pretty thin tires, though, so I may need to mess with that. But I don't think there's a way to visually see how big these things are. So we'll leave it at 10. I'll need to make a note to check that, though. Let me write that down on my task list, provided my task list actually opens. There we go. Okay. Let's see. And for those viewing, just feel free to check. Pardon me. Feel free to write and ask any questions so that I can check the chat. That's what I meant to say. Because I've got it open on my other window over here. Okay, so I need to check. Let's see. Check tire width for Rose's car. And let's see. And I might as well also put in to do that for Ben's car too. Okay. Got that stuff saved. Let me sync my lists. Cool. Alright. So now I need to actually go find my dimensions. Okay, so the radius okay. The front tire radius is 47.81. That's weird that it does that. Okay. So that's the front tire. Now there's a lot of settings in here. The steer angle, I guess I'll leave it at 70 for right now. That basically is like how much the tires are going to turn. Oh, and then tire type, I need to set that as Rose tire type. Compile and save. And then the rear wheel needs to also be the Rose tire type. And the rear wheel radius is 49.61. So I came up with that number by actually measuring the wheel inside Maya, our modeling package, so that I actually could get the size of it. Okay, well it does say auto adjust collision size. Okay, so if true, shape radius and shape width will be used to automatically scale collision taken from collision mesh to match wheel size. So I might actually be able to visualize the wheel size in the engine by turning the collision stuff on during gameplay, like the visualizing collision. We'll have to check that out. Alright, so that should be it for the wheels, I believe. Oh, well, actually, let me double check something. Affected by handbrake off. And front wheel affected by handbrake off. The reason I'm turning that off is we actually don't have a handbrake in the game. We removed that. But I want to make sure those are turned off so they won't be affected by the handbrake. I mean, it doesn't matter because we don't have one, but for my sanity, I'm going to turn it off. Okay, so now vehicle blueprint, which is this one, and defaults anim is going to be VP Rose Car anim. Skeletal mesh is going to be SK Rose Car. And okay, now we need to get the camera set up. Camera. Okay, and then all the wheel stuff. So let's do the camera next. Components. Hey, we have a car. Now you probably will notice a little bit of something different in that there's no seats, no steering wheel, and no license plate. And that's because those are actually separate components. And the reason we did that was to kind of simplify this rig, in that basically we wanted to have only the vehicle's body and the tires involved in the rigging process, so we didn't include the others. So those will get added later. I need to actually re-import the seats and the steering wheel and the license plate as separate static meshes, and then they'll be attached to this car. And then we can actually do some cool things with those, like animate them if we wanted to, so that, you know, if the car jumps in the air, the seats could come up or something. I don't know. We haven't decided if we're going to do that, but it's nice to know, you know, we have the possibility to do that. Excuse me. Yeah, so it'd be nice to have the possibility of doing that. Alright, I was just checking the stream length. We're about 30 minutes in. So we will probably go another 30 to 40 minutes, something like that. We have been doing streams that were about 2 hours long. We're going to try to do it a little shorter, just due to the length of the videos, and we want people to be able to have, you know, enough time to sit down and watch the whole thing. And 2 hours was kind of seeming a little long for what we'd seen in people viewing things. So we want to make sure that, you know, people are going to get the most out of this, and I think having kind of an hour-long thing is going to be good. So we're going to try that for a week or two and see how it goes. So, camera. Okay, so the first thing we need to actually add is Now I can't remember the name of it. Spring arm. Here we go. Okay, camera spring arm. So that'll be good. And let's see, target arm length. We'll do target arm length of 1200, and then let's actually rotate this by like 15 degrees. That'll be good. Okay, and then we're going to add a camera. And onto the spring arm, and the camera is actually going to be at 0. I've had problems with these spring arms before. There we go, okay. Okay, that's probably the... Okay, so that was the issue. Okay. It just needed to be moved to a different point. That's fine. That was a little weird. I hadn't had that happen before. So spring arm. Okay, there we go. So the camera is on the spring arm, but now the spring arm is refusing to... maybe it's that it's in the floor. There we go, okay. I guess it was just down too far. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Oddly enough. Okay. So the question now is that a good camera angle? So I can take this and set it here. Okay, let me actually delete the old one so that we're not confused by this. Turn this around 180 degrees. Oh, that was 85 degrees. Yeah. Okay, so that looks like the camera's a little far away. And you know what I could do? I liked the camera on the other car. Proto vehicle. So let's just look at what those settings are. Okay, so camera spring arm. Okay, so it is... It was an 1100 arm length, and it was negative 40/70 on this. Okay, and negative 20 Y rotation, which means that the camera itself should have a 20-degree rotation, I believe, and that will actually have the camera... No, it had a 7.5 rotation. Okay. So basically, like, we're rotating the arm and the camera, so the camera's attached to the arm, so it goes like this, and then we rotate the camera so that it's kind of like that, looking forward. So that should be a better camera angle. That's still kind of far away, though. Are you sure the arm length is that long? It's at 1100 for the arm length. Well, what I can do is I have a game mode blueprint I built. Or do I not have a game mode? I thought I had a game mode blueprint. Oh, there it is. Proto game mode. Which... let me actually go ahead and make a new game mode. Inside of blueprints. Okay, BP race game mode. Let's do that. So game mode, this basically defines a lot of things. So we're still going to use the Proto HUD for right now. But this is going to be BP Rose's car WV, and I think that does everything else. Okay. So basically this sets up like all the default classes that the game needs to run. And then we need to actually go to world settings and set the game mode here to be race game mode. Save. So now when we play, well, that's lovely. I don't know what's going on there. Let me... can I say play from here? The car is freaking out. Okay. That's not cool. That's funny. Okay, so we have a bug, it looks like. Let me finish setting up the vehicle, and then we'll figure out why it's freaking out like that. It may have to deal with the rig, honestly. So, alright, so we have the camera set up. I don't know... I don't know if this... oh, hang on. I think that's still far away. Let me rotate this around again, though. Alright, let me pin the preview. Okay, let me do this. So I can see the preview, and I can see... so I want the spring arms length. Maybe it needs to just be 900. 700. Well, let's do 550. And then, let's take the spring arms angle, bump it up another like 5 degrees. That could be workable. Okay, so that's the camera, and I haven't set up, I haven't set up the wheels yet, so let's make sure that that weird issue of it flying everywhere was not the, was not that. Oh, wait. I have to finish the camera setup. There's a couple things we still need to finish setting up. Ooh. Yeah, because under simulation it just does that. Okay, so that's not good. Really quick though, just because I'm curious, when I do simulate on this, what does it do? Yeah. Okay. So it simulates fine. So I'm kind of betting it's the rig. Okay, so it looks like... So this is basically what I'm looking at is like this is the root bone here. It looks like the root bone is actually on the same level as the base of the tires. So if I actually look at the skeletal mesh for Rose's car, though, the root bone... No, see, the root bone's there. What if I were to do that? Hmm. Well, that's interesting. So even if it's like way up in the air here, it just spins. Huh. Well, let me finish getting it set up and then I'll have to figure out exactly why that's happening. Actually, let me go back to the skeleton asset. Or this. Yeah. Or no, was I in the skeleton? Oh, that's the skeleton. I actually want to be in the skeletal mesh. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Let's go ahead and set up the rest of the camera and then the wheels. And then we'll have to figure out that bug. Okay. So the other thing with the camera is... Actually, let me look at the proto vehicle to make sure that its camera... These cameras are set up the same. Okay, I do need camera rotation lag of 7.0. And then I need to not inherit pitch and not use the view controller. And then the camera, use control the view rotation. Okay, cool. Compile, save, and that should be it for the camera. Okay, now the wheels. Which again, I don't have the wheels set up, so maybe that's the problem. I don't know. So we'll see. Hopefully that'll fix it. If not, then it'll be off to the forums to figure out exactly why that's happening. Oh. I didn't want to do that to the Rose's car. No. Go to vehicle. save, revert. So I'm just reverting any modifications that I made while I was in there tinkering. Okay, back to Rosa's car, into the defaults. Now I need to go and find the wheel setup. Alright. Oh, wait, you know what? I think I know what might happen. Maybe? I don't know. It looks like it's rotating around the central pivot for that first bone. So, okay, so let's do the front wheels first, and then the back wheels. So the order doesn't matter as long as you get the bone name correct. So, if I actually go into the skeleton so I can look at the bones. So I have front wheel right, and I can actually right click and copy the bone name, which is nice. Okay, so front wheel right, and then we have front wheel left, and then back wheel right, and back wheel left. The other thing that could be wrong, I'm thinking about this in the back of my mind while I'm doing this, could be the physics asset. Okay, front wheel right, front wheel left, back wheel right, back wheel left. And I think it's just the bone names and the tires. Okay. Compile, save. Alright, so let's see if that fixed this. Hey, it did. That was the problem. The tires weren't set up. Though now the camera's kind of messed up. So, if it's not one thing, it's another. Okay, so we stopped the crazy twisting turning, and I think it was because the wheels weren't set up. Hopefully that was the only thing. So now I need to go into components, and I need to change where the spring arm is located. I guess let me move it to the back bumper. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so that way it's behind the car. And not inside the car. Alright, so if I simulate, the camera's still inside. Alright, well, what if I play? Oh, if it's, like I said, if it's not one thing, it's another. So I can look at it sideways. So, like, it looks like the camera's twisting and being shoved up underneath the car. And I don't know why that's happening. Because, like, what if I did this? And it's, like, way out, not even near the car. It's still doing that. Well, what I could turn off is there's a setting. Sorry if I'm eating the mic. So what if I undid that? Okay, so there's like a camera collision, where okay, so the collision is half the problem, but it's still being put way over here. So maybe it's because it's on the route. Let me put a scene component here. And then take this and actually make it sub of that instead. And the spring arm root will be the middle of the vehicle. And let's see if that does anything. No, it's still rotating the camera off to the... It's like it's rotating the camera. It's like it's rotating the camera 90 degrees. That's weird. Okay, so that spring arm root thing didn't help, so that's going away. So still looks as if it's getting rotated. Okay, so this is, you know, what happens if I do this? Okay, it's right side up, it's just a lot lower than it needs to be. That, oh man. So if it's rotating like this, and then I need to basically have it further to the left, that is just weird. I don't know why it decides it's wanting to do that. So it really needs to be like here. I shouldn't have to do that with the camera, so I'm gonna like reset this. Alright, so it looks like a, well, we're at about an hour, so I'm probably going to actually call it, because what's involved next is a lot of digging through documentation and forum posts and a lot of really boring stuff to watch. So, because it should not be rotating the camera 90 degrees. So, like, basically, if I were to play right now, it's just doing that. And there's another problem in that I'm pointing at the screen, but the tires are now embedded into the ground as well. So I'm kind of betting, like, let me do this. If I do this up to like 500, if I take these spawn starts and I move them like 500 in the air and I play, yeah. So like the camera's sideways and then the wheels are clipping through, and none of that should be happening. Yeah. So hey, that's game development, right? You get some stuff working, and then there's bugs and stuff's not working. So, but you can at least kind of see a little bit of the process, right? So you can see there's a lot involved in getting a vehicle up and running. Um, so hopefully I'll be able to figure out everything. If I do figure it out, I'll try to post, because this will actually be archived on YouTube, this live stream. So I'll try to post what the issue ended up being in the description for the YouTube video, um, and then so if you're an Unreal dev and you're watching this, you can hit us up on Twitter to let us know what if you've come across that problem before. So thanks for watching the stream this week. We're going to cut it off a little shy of an hour. And again, to ask for a couple things from you guys. One is, please like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Rose Racer Game. And you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow Rose Racer, the game, on Twitter at Rose Racer Game. And you can find out more about the game at the game's website, nacelgames.com/Rose Racer. And then the last two things are, if you're watching this on Twitch, there's a follow button down below. Go ahead and follow us. That way you'll know when we go live with our live streams. Because as we get closer to getting to the point where we have something that's playable with multiple people, then we'll actually be live streaming some multiplayer sessions of gameplay and some other cool things that we're planning. So go ahead and follow us so that you'll be able to see when that stuff goes live. And we're streaming across Twitch. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go follow us over on Twitch. There's a link to our Twitch profile in the video description. But you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because anything that we do on Twitch, we do archive that and export it over to YouTube so that you can watch it later, so that the archives are saved there. And that's a big help to us to know, following us online at any of those places. It's a help to us to know that we can get the word out about the game and any news about it, any announcements, and then also being able to just connect with our fan base about Rose Racer and keep you guys informed about what's happening with the game. So thanks for watching this week, and we'll be hopefully live streaming again next week at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And then look for this on YouTube usually a couple days after the live streams. So thanks for watching.